it's so incredible to see you step into your power on screen in this amazing way across this amazing show. But I think sometimes one of the things about success and failure is that you see these moments where someone gets this amazing part of their life, which is so incredible. You're achieving amazing things. Everyone's talking about the role. They don't see the struggles and the resilience that you've had to really delve into to get to that place. Is there ever a time in your career where you've really questioned yourself and really had to push yourself to keep going?
I think right when I started, I graduated from theater school, and I was 24, which is very, very young, but in the world of acting felt like crazy that I'd just been in school for 6 years, university and then theater school, and had never had a job. And I just was feeling very low, really, really depressed at the time. And really questioned what I was doing and if I was just an enormous failure. But because of that period, and then I started working, I've always had this sort of, or for a lot of my career, this kind of shock that I got to even audition for great things or even be a part of these things. I mean, I wouldn't do just anything, but it really felt like something that wasn't going to happen. And then it did. And I got to work and I got to pay my rent. And then I, got to work again and again. And that was so thrilling for me that I always really, I don't know, I've been very chill about Rejection, because whoever they cast, I could either understand it from a financial, sort of the economy of making movies way, or we were so different that it's well, if they want that person, then of course they wouldn't want me because that's a completely different thing. Or I don't know, just accepting sometimes that somebody's better for a role than I am. I can divorce myself from that. But I think more of the challenge is not tying too much of your self-worth to any moments of success, so that the peaks and valleys aren't marking the landscape of your life, but you can kind of find a through line of I don't know, it's not not hopefulness, but that you're motivated by something other than the sort of huge adrenaline rush of getting a role, or there's all these sequences that happen that early in my career are so feels so good to get the role, and then it's announced that you got the role, and then people call you about getting the role, and then you shoot the role, and then the thing comes out, and then you get to talk about it again. And it is kind of social media stuff where you get these sort of endorphin highs from people applauding you, and I think that's really I think it's really important to divorce yourself from that as quickly as possible, because it's so fleeting, and it's just like anything, it's only interesting in the one moment, and if you attach too much of your identity to it, then you go down with it when everybody moves on.
I think the main part about success and failure is that you're never going to find true success if you so attach yourself to these external things, right? It needs to come from an internal place.
Yeah. And understanding that you kind of make your own bed as well. I really think that I saw an interview with Judi Dench years and years ago, where she was 75, and somebody was asking her about what the hardest part of being an actor was, and she said something along the lines of every job feels like it's your last job. You never know when the next job is coming. And on the one hand, that's harrowing because, wow, you just are constantly living in this state of suspense until you're 75 and a dame and, an internationally respected, cinema royalty. But on the other hand, it's all right, well, that's the sort of carny life that we chose. And rather than resisting it and thinking that there's an end to this, uncertainty, sort of enjoying how uncertainty feels and sitting in moments of I don't know, discomfort, and letting those moments of discomfort be as valuable as moments of comfort. It's a weird thing that I have not mastered, but this sort of meditation of, you know, even if I'm really sad or really, I don't know, lost or something, knowing that like, well, you'll never feel this exact thing in this moment, in this space again, probably. So like, how do you punctuate this feeling where it feels, the intensity is at least pleasurable, even if the feeling is
That's so true, because nothing in life is constant. Like, how you feel now is not how you're going to feel next week. It's not going to how you're going to feel in 2 weeks' time. It's everything in life is transient, isn't it? And you're always going through these transient moments. So the work is to try and get to a place where you feel comfortable in uncertainty, because you know what, like, nothing's certain. We're always literally trying to grab onto these certainties that just don't exist.
I also have to say, like, I have my own experiences with depression, and there's a limit to that sometimes. So I don't want to make it sound like with the right attitude, anything can be fine. But I have found it like a coping mechanism at times. I remember being in Toronto in the winter and being like really sad for some reason one day. And I think I worked a night shoot and was like really tired, and you know, it was well below freezing, and I was wearing nothing outside. Like, just one of these things that was really, really intense. And then the next day walking down the street and just like crying, walking down the street, but kind of thinking how special it was to be in Toronto during a pandemic, shooting a show about a pandemic, tired from like working all night, like all of these factors, as much as they were sort of exhausting me and like really sort of stripping me raw. At least they were like distinct, you know? At least they were like the most intense version of all those feelings. And it felt like, well, you'll probably never be in this exact situation again, so you may as well enjoy like how intense it is. But man, doesn't always work.
It's a progress. It's a progress, and it's a process.
It's the journey, not the destination.